Welcome to TJ's Throwbacks, a new series where I'll be joined by guests in the drafting community as we look back through some of the standout moments in their drafting career so far. For this pilot episode, I took my good friend and storyteller extraordinaire, the Uzi Gunner, down memory lane as we talk humble beginnings and wildlife successes. If you guys are enjoying the content, feel free to like and subscribe, and all feedback is appreciated. Without further ado, let the throwback begin. How's it going, guys? And welcome back to the channel, and welcome to finally the start of TJ's Throwbacks, the series where I'm joined by a guest as we recount through their draft league career and some of the games that have made a particular impact with them. Seeing as this is a series all about storytelling, I thought it made sense for me to get the storyteller himself for episode 1. I'm delighted to say that I am joined by my Xeno brother from a Bangladeshi mother, the Uzi Gunner. How's it going, Uzi?
Wow, what an astute and profound introduction from Mr. TJ, my fellow Xenoblade Chronicles lover, 9000, yes. But yes, good evening, or is it afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all kinds. My name is the Uzi Gunner, and it is a pleasure to be looking back at my past memories and feeling insane second-hand embarrassment. So what do you got for us, bro?
I mean,
take it away.
I mean, it feels nice enough for you to be pulling that intro out on my channel, but it's more so, like, I guess the best place to start for me is what got you into draft, because we have your first draft game. We'll go over that later, but what got you into draft league in the first place? I know two of us were probably a very similar era. I think you beat me by a couple months, but I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, sure. So draft league, ironically, is something that I've had my eye on for many years now, mainly from the era of when the Global Battle Association was a thing. And when I say this specific league, I mean the specific content creators that were a part of it during then, who I have been following a lot. One of them being Shady Penguin, who has honestly been the first ever individual to imprint the idea of me becoming a content creator in the first place. I love this content, and I especially love the idea of how low-tier Pokemon have a far more fairer shot at taking down the absolute best of the best Pokemon out there, because it created such a very unique visual and a very unique context that can't necessarily be found in any other Pokemon format out there. And so when I saw something like that, I was like, okay, this sounds really, really fun. I want to see more of that. And as the years went by and I expanded my horizons by seeing the other Pokemon content creators that were involved in this, from, you know, your Steve, aka Magnitude, and his very wacky wrestling promos, which I'm always going to be a sucker for, provided the kind of individual that I happen to be. Yes. And also the, you know, people like PM7, and especially shoutouts to my GOAT, shoutouts to my main inspiration, shoutouts to the reason your boy ended up pulling the trigger and being who he is right now to this date, Miguel, aka Mega Mogwai, the coach of the Real Maril, who absolutely floored me with his amazing content creation, how he was able to mix authentic storytelling with the music that he used, and especially how much he was killing it with Pokemon Draft League. Ain't nobody had the motion that he did, and it was a very big part of what made me go like, okay, I am not going to just start playing Pokemon Draft League. I'm going to start becoming a Pokemon content creator so that one day I can share the stage with him and everybody else. And yeah, I have never looked back since.
Damn, that's basically everything for me, except the content bit took about 9 years later than you. So, but no, 100%. And even like Miguel was such an inspiration, I think, to a lot of people around those days. So, even seeing him randomly on a Joey stream recently, it's like, so you're telling me there's a chance? Of just he comes back.
Yeah,
it's crazy enough. Crazy enough Shady came back. So like,
exactly. I mean, it's kind of pretty telling considering how so many other people that you definitively wrote off at one point, and I don't necessarily mean just you specifically, but rather the general draft league community, who consistently put these people up because they're like, oh, you know, They've moved on to bigger and better things. There's no reason for them to come back. Draft League is still in its revival stages or whatever from Generation 9 as far as the content aspect goes. But if anything, Scarlet and Violet has shown just how much it isn't the case, because every single person that we talked about who has divorced themselves from the specific format, they ended up coming back in one shape or form. And I think there's something to be said about how beautiful it is that even after all these years, and even after how these people moved on to much better things, which are far more beneficial for them as far as chasing their passion goes, that soft spot that they had for Draft League, it still remains to the point where they decided to pull the trigger and be like, you know what? Let's have another go around with that. So if all of these people can come back, from your Shady Penguins to your PM7s to your Haydens for one season, then I'd like to think that Miguel is someone who is definitely going to be considering that, especially with Pokemon Champions coming soon, because guess what, pal? Mega Mogwai? The Mega in Mogwai stands for Mega Evolution. And that just so happened to be my guy's bread and butter.
Exactly.
So, as far as manifestation goes, I'm just saying,
SPL Season 5.
Maybe.
Maybe. At time of recording, we don't know when Champions comes out, just as a full clarification. We're doing this before Pokemon Day. So,
that we are.
I'm going to take you back now to Monday, August 3rd, 2015, where a sprightly Uzi Gunner plays his first ever draft game against Fancy Cross. And
indeed.
You can see a team in front of you that looks, I'm not gonna lie, for 2015 that looks pretty normal on your end. And then, yes, there's a Girder and an Ambipom on the far side, which very much shows the time.
Indeed.
So.
Yeah.
Anything you particularly remember about this game before we hop into the replay?
Yeah, actually, to those that may not know, this actually happens to be my first ever Draft League game. And as a matter of fact, the individual who I was playing at that time, he was also going to have his first ever Draft League game during then. And, we hit it off really well, and shout outs to the good old Skype days, because for this specific league, I saw a YouTube video about it and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna drop a comment and see whatever happens from that. And I thankfully ended up getting invited, and with this specific individual, I hit it off with him really well. So we went into this game with the complete expectation of it being healthy competition of two very passionate and excited upstarts ready to have a go in this brand new format that we just so happen to be very passionate about. So I believe there's nothing else left to say other than let's watch the game, shall we?
Yeah, we might as well. God, those were the days. Skype days where you found everything through YouTube comments. God.
Crazy to think how much things have changed since then, huh?
Takes me back, man. Simpler times. But yeah, let's hop into this game. So you played with Rotom Mo, John Cena, of course.
John Cena, yeah.
And then
You're
going to scout for the fake out. You don't get seed bombed, which is always a good thing. And
always
they
a
go
good
ahead
thing.
And Rotom Wash, you get a free rocks, because that's how 2015 works. Then,
exactly.
Will-O-Wisp into the Rotom, and
Let me guess, I volt switched?
No, you don't. You tricked.
Oh, I tricked.
Yeah, because you're Scarf Rotom. You don't want to keep it, even though Scizor was a semi-viable switch-in.
Exactly.
Toxic misses.
You never know.
Lucky Uzi, even back in 2015.
Yeah, oh my god, this Uzi Gunner is such a lucky player. What the heck? Why did that stone into
such an RNG? That was Shorty Bandit, right?
Yeah, I think that was Bandit and
It had to be.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if it was. Yeah. But I did click Stone Edge because I expected what's his face, the Entei to come in, and I wanted to punish that.
So you leave Stoned on the Scizor when he could have scattered for the trick the first time. Now you burn the Scizor, which is a good play, as he doesn't click U-turn, which
exactly. My Scarf is gone. Yes.
So you Volt Switch out, go into your Hard Clef as you do, as this time he U-turns.
Finally.
You see the Arcanine come in. Now,
indeed, the Arcanine.
Strong Flare Blitz No, he clicks toxic.
He clicks toxic.
You come
perhaps thought I was unaware. Yes.
So this is a problem.
I am. Yeah. Oh wow, a second combine.
Yeah, it's leftovers rotom, so it can't even trick you. Hydro Pump does. Fuck all. And are you just about to 6-0 with a Clefable the most boring way possible? No, he crits you.
Yeah. So you're telling me there might be a chance.
Maybe.
Who knows? Shout out to when Aura's Clefable was one of the most disgusting broken Pokemon because of this basic AF Combine set. And here's me pulling back the curtain a little bit. The people who I surrounded myself with, who were a very big part of me learning competitive Pokemon, they made me go like, no, you can never run Combine Clefable because it's a broken set. If you run this, you basically your parents never loved you. And yeah, I mean clearly I ignored them for this match, which I'm grateful for. I don't know why he went for Thunder Punch on my Clefable rather than a double hit, assuming he had that. But
I don't think he had a normal move based on that. So.
I don't think he did either, my guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, this Clefable is...
Yeah, just Clef wins.
Yeah,
Clef
wins, LOL.
Clef showing that it's Aurus Jesus, and it still is in the year 2026. So, this out.
Oh wow, a clean one-shot.
Yeah. Goes into a Sableye. What's this thing gonna do?
What is he gonna do?
Life Orb.
He was Life Orb. Oh my god. Life Orb Sableye.
Yeah, Life Orb Sableye. Probably with double
he really wanted that poison jab, huh? Okay, yeah. So my first ever draft league game in draft league history is me 6-0ing my opponent. And here's another fun trivia that I saved specifically for after this game got finished showing.
Okay.
My opponent, he basically, after this point, on the very next day, decided to send a chat in our Skype server of this draft league, saying that, you know what, guys, this doesn't seem like something I want to pursue as far as my channel goes. I want to focus on something else. So you know what, I'm just gonna remove myself from this draft league, if that's okay. And lo and behold, I also happened to notice that he unfriended me on Skype as well. So, yeah, not only did I win my first ever draft league game by 6-0ing someone, I ended someone's career on that exact same day and lost a friend too in the process. So, funny how that works out, huh?
Oof. That is the most 2015, 2016 moment ever where someone loses one game and they're like, no, I can't do this. I have to go. I have to win the league. I have to go and beat him the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, obviously you tripped away on PS stuff for a few years anyways, and then you went over to more the Wi-Fi side of things. I'm saying about Swish, you might have done some Usum.
I did a lot of Sun and Moon and Usum because that was when basically the Citra emulator was present in
Citra.
Being able, because they were capable of showing the saved replays of the Wi-Fi battles that we would end up having, which I used with my very potato-ish laptop to be able to put out content for every single one, which was a very fun change of pace, because before this it used to be just Showdown, because that was the most I could do. And to those that may not be aware, making 3DS Pokemon content back in the day was impossible unless you make the distinct choice to ship your 3DS to America, which, mind you, for yours truly, is the other side of the world when you live in Bangladesh. And not just that, the 3DS capture card that is imprinted into it by unofficial retailers at that, that ends up costing twice the price of an existing 3DS XL. So, yeah, your boy didn't have that option. I'm just saying. So, that kind of explains a lot.
Yeah. No, I completely get that. Like, those were the days where Wi-Fi was a very particular way. You have to have the capture card. You have to have, or your access to the Versus recorder. Like, that was everything in those days. And yeah, I completely and utterly understand you. I was the same. Like, shipping stuff to America to get a capture card in when I'm like 15? Nah, I'm alright, man.
Nah. We don't got the money for that, bro.
Exactly. So then, these next few games, we're going to flash forward a good few years, and now we're going to get into, I think everything else we have in this video is Gen 9. So, is there anything else you want to talk about your Gen 7, Gen 8 career before we kind of jump all the way forwards?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Gen 7 is a interesting point in my Draft League run, but it is something that I still hold in a very fond regards because that was when I got to use some of my most favorite Pokemon, including Infernape, which was an absolute demon during then. Like, I loved always being able to use it as my Z Captain or anything else because it just guaranteed me progress through and through. But most importantly, that was when I had my breakout moment because after 4 years of trying and, being told no a lot of times, I ended up being a part of the WBE, the World Battle Entertainment, which was the biggest draft league at that time. And I essentially ended up filling in for a team that was 0-5 with -20 differential. Like, this is no hyperbole. That was literally the conditions of the team that I ended up filling in. But I ended up doing what I would consider is probably hands down one of the greatest comebacks in Draft League history by turning that 0-5 record into a 7-6 record and that -20 differential into a +10 differential before being able to eventually reach playoffs. So that was a very special time for me, and I feel like it set the stones for the path that I'm eventually walking on right now, which I couldn't be more grateful for.
Yeah, 100%. Like, sure, I remember those days of watching WBE. So, and WBE, in case anyone forgets, actually stands for Wolfie Beats Everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just so happened that Wolf ended up winning that whole league too. So
he didn't lose. He just did.
Yeah, he never lost.
So,
never lost.
And then, of course, obviously, then you went through Gen 8 Wi-Fi, took a bit of a break in Gen 9, and then, funnily enough, the same position sort of happened, where you came in as a replacement. Although this time it was for PPL rather than for WB. Just so much things have shifted. And then, you get your first league back, all goes well there. And then the invite to SPL happens. We're going to skip over SPL for now. We're going to come back to it because that's probably one of the most important thing, so save the best till last.
Absolutely.
So, I have this game here, which, from what I remember, is PPL regular season. This was your first full season in it, and other stuff had just happened. And you have this team, which I remember seeing you drafting it at the time, and I was like, what is this? I literally remember the DM setting you up like, what are you doing? But I always feel that way about your drafts, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So, we have this matchup here against Jricky, who you may or may not have ended up playing later. We'll talk about that after the fact. So,
sure.
Do you remember anything in particular about this prep? Like, this is, funnily enough, a video you didn't put a team up in, which shows the particular time or how busy you were.
Yeah, I mean, I can say for a fact that this was one of those matches where there wasn't particularly anything wrong with my prep, but this was also a game where I had probably the worst brain fart out of any possible brain farts throughout my return in Generation 9 Draft League, especially with the level that I try to do my best to consistently perform at. And as far as that goes, I certainly feel as if this was the game where anything that could have gone wrong, it went wrong. And I certainly did not make the conditions any easier for myself because I did not have a set game plan in terms of how to lead and how to adapt as the match proceeded, which certainly ended up being a huge detriment into me. But from what I can recall, I ended up having Rocky Helmet Lucario because that was my answer to, Miascarada. And Gouging Fire, which is Gouging Fire stuff, of course. Because how can you not have a Pokemon like Gouging Fire to mess up your opponent's squad? And Enamorous. Yeah, I love this Enamorous set in particular because it was really nice as a way to surprise him, especially because I love the idea of Constabulary, which may or may not have gotten popularized thanks to a certain queen of Draft League who just so happened to be in my corner in the leagues beforehand. Shoutouts and all love to Addison, our GOAT.
I think you're counting me out of that because why not?
Oh no! Yeah. Oh, so actually, you were the first. Yeah, you were actually the first because you were the one who got me on that Constabulary stuff with my Dragology for my first match against Mr. Joseph Fontaine, Eduardo Hernandez, Lalo Anthony. Yes.
For those keeping count that is one mention of Joey. That will not be the last.
Indeed. But yeah, like I just wanted to iterate on that set because I felt that he would very much expect Choice Scarf set going by superpower and everything because it actually matches up into him. And I really like the idea of getting enough boost and him being like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna bring in my Sinister because it's gonna be immune thanks to, the ghost typing, and then he just gets boomed by a +2 player up to the dome, which is really, really nice. So yeah, I mean, same with Life Orb Galarian Slowbro, which had an insanely good matchup into him. So no, I will definitely stand on saying that my prep wasn't inherently bad, but how I played, kind of a different story. Yeah, kind of a different story.
Let's get into this game, which I have at 1.5 speed. I will not listen to you ramble. You leading in. Okay. Loading. Stupid internet. Or is it loading an ad? Both of them.
Is it loading an ad? I'm just seeing a lag.
There we go. It's taking forever.
There we go.
But yeah, so lead did not go well because he led Iron Treads.
I should have led Tingwu. Probably. I don't know.
I mean, hindsight 2020 for a game that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. And I had nothing like that player now, for sure.
More free rocks. You staring at stuff for a while, even though you're an Alamola, you're just gonna click flip turn. He swaps out. Into Miascarada. Because of course you do the Alamola thing of click flip turn. Also, just a heads up for how this series is going to work, guys. When it does come to me getting Wi-Fi replays, there's going to be a lot of me just skipping forwards, because I don't want to bore you guys. So.
That's valid.
I'm figuring these things out as we go. So, you go into Gouging Fire. Okay. See, booster attack. And you just fire off a Flare Blitz. Uzi Zoom encounter. What?
Yeah. I definitely think me being more aggressive here was the play to make because I felt like there should have been a priority put in being able to really hinder or weaken the Sinistra, which I felt that Joshua Rickerton would try to be able to, bring in and set it up as its counter against me. And but of course there's the downside. Yeah, and there's also the downside of the fact that rocks are up, I'm booster energy, and my Broly isn't necessarily having the best of health right now, yes.
So this puts you in a bit of spot bother because you made the one predicted play instead of the other. That's fine. Do you go to, do you get burnt? You don't, you get Sin Screens instead. That's arguably just as bad. So you Ruination here, because already you're only 4 turns in and you're very behind the 8 ball. You have hard treads.
Very, very. I was surprised by that play as well because for me I was like, wait, why is he letting me chip down his Iron Treads? Because it
looked like a stone.
It was one of his best answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly.
Yeah. Obviously you go Alamola to say nothing. That's how Alamola works.
I don't know what the heck I was saying.
I don't know what the heck you're saying. Yeah, exactly. Does anyone care? I'll link all these in the description anyways for people that do actually care about what the certain Uzi gamer is saying. I'm assuming you did the boring thing again. Yes, you did.
Yeah, choco flippy, yeah. Or choco flippy.
Choco flippy? You bloody what, mate?
Choco flippy. Bloody hell, mate. That came off as more British than it did Aussie.
I thought the plan was
Whoopsie-daisy.
British. I thought the plan was British there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to the Rocky Helmet.
Oh yeah. This is where everything starts going awry, because I was like, you know what? I have not seen a single Miaskarada run low kick, so I'm going to bank on that rather than, you know, seeing, rather than scouting first, which is where I just start spiraling, because I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck do I do now? Like, oh no, help, please. You know?
Yeah, because now you effectively have to bluff Scarvina.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it's just.
That's what it did. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why you scout kids.
Exactly.
So you click play rough, although I imagine he's just going to play it safe here and go Rotom.
I'll just click superpower because it's
that also
best
works.
move to go for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In comes the Rocky on the Rotom, which looks like it should get 2-shot.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, like from what I recall, it was actually a roll, but it was a roll that was either 50% or in Joshua Rickerton's favor. Again, folks, I can't be accurate in 2 years. Give me a break.
Joshua Citrus Berry Rickerton. But you have to go for it. You're so far behind you.
Exactly. But I do not get the roll.
Yeah.
If I actually got the roll, by the way, I think an argument could have been made about Enamorous getting another kill, KO, which would have absolutely thrown him for a loop, because Enamorous from a speed standpoint was looking insanely threatening into him, and Ricky would not have basically had the courage to bring in his Meowscarada afterwards, because he doesn't know that I wasn't trying Scarf. And if I were a betting man, he would very likely have gotten to his Sinistcha, which I would have been able to knock out, and then set myself up for a repositioning to be able to really, you know, put the hurting on him. So this is where I have to go out into my Undine, because I was like, you know what,
you have one play.
I want him to click Flower Trick, because if he clicks Flower Trick, then I can potentially be able to you know, get the Trick Room up with my Galarian Slowbro, which was why I felt that my play was to just go out into that Pokemon here and now. And well, you're gonna see that did not freaking work out in the slightest. No. Because I was like, oh my god, why did he click knockoff? Like, I mean, there was no way that he would have killed my Undine there, but like, he did not. The reason he did that is because he never had Flower Trick in the first place, and so I was at this point like, you know what, I'm probably gonna lose 6-0 here. Yeah. So
Healing Wish and Pray.
Yeah, I'm just gonna Healing Wish and Pray, bro. If he had taught it, I would have just turned off my Switch at that very moment.
Yeah, no,
but
for sure.
Yeah, the Healing Wish is gonna proc, and I'm gonna bring in my Gouging Fire in what is going to be my last possible hoorah. Yeah. So, you know, I get my Healing Wish.
It looks good. If it was taunt, you'd definitely cry right now. But
indeed. And I'm just gonna dance my dragon here, because what else can I do, right?
No power. No power jam. That is a win.
As he's gonna bring in the stupid Sinistcha, the stupid and annoying Sinistcha, huh? That's really a problem into me. And here I was like, oh no, I have to click Iron Head, because he's definitely gonna Terra. He's definitely gonna Terra, and I just go for it. He does not Terra, and if he goes, and he gets flinched. Yes.
That is another case of Uzi being a lucky mofo in this video.
Indeed, indeed. I have my luck, but there are days where I don't have it.
Oh, we know.
It's a case of yin and yang, depending on who you ask. Regardless, I now have an inkling of a chance coursing through my veins, as my opponent is now facing a +1, a Broly, and I'm facing an Oven, who's about to breathe its last breath.
It is a 2 HP Oven.
Indeed. Bye bye, Oven. You won't be missed. As I'm gonna hurt myself with the Rocky Helmet. Very surprising, considering what Gouging Fire has on its head. You would think that it would protect itself from something like that, but I guess these horns are just for show. Yeah.
Logic doesn't
And-
exist in this game. Don't even try.
Exactly. And horny people, considering the nickname that it has. But I'm now going to click Psychic Fangs, praying that I get myself a KO. Praying that there is a God that is watching me today. That God being Allah, as He is going to be able to get the KO here and now. And now, the inkling of chance, the inkling of hope, the inkling of a possibility is becoming far more real. As now, he doesn't have a Pokemon to deal with this beast anymore. So I'm just gonna go for a Flare Blitz. Down goes the stupid Iron Threads. And he only has a PZ and a Meowscarada. So depending on his moveset, maybe I can win.
He's not
I go for a Flare Blitz. The PZ is not Scarf. And now, my disbelief is about to become a reality. Because this Meowscarada, sure, he can have Sucker Punch. But he doesn't even go for that. And Gouging Fire gets out 6 KOs. And this is probably the craziest Draft League game I've ever had in my life. Because what was probably going to be a very depressive episode for yours truly ended up becoming whatever the heck this was.
No, for sure. I think it is just one of those where sometimes, and this is why Healing Wishes become so popular as well, is sometimes all you have to do is just position and pray. And to be fair, it worked out perfectly there. I completely get it. The start was less hit the better. But at the end of the day, Gouging Fire is broken. And we all know this. So,
and he's bouncing on a lot of people's cheeks,
So I guess just, and then to give the full context here for you guys in regards to this PPL season, these two then met again in finals, which was far less chaotic. It was. Yeah.
Very balanced.
Yeah. Almamola did Almamola things, and Uzi won 2. That's about all you
I'd say. Indeed.
So
I got my redemption.
Yeah, exactly. So what was so special about this as a season compared to other, and why this game in particular?
Yeah, this season was special to me in a lot of ways because not only was this my last ever Draft League of 2024, I felt like it was a full circle moment in a lot of ways because when I finished the story with SPL Season 2, which will probably be my favorite season of all time, going by how many dreams came true for me during then, I felt like this season was more so my greatest challenge yet in terms of the people who I ended up facing because we were in 2 divisions. We went for 9 weeks and we were essentially put in a position where the top 4 would only be in a position of making playoffs, which basically meant that the margin for error was considerably lesser in comparison to the other leagues where the top 8 would end up being in a position of being able to reach there. And my performance over there was essentially an indication to me that the success that I've been able to find wasn't necessarily just me getting lucky shots, but also I was able to prove verbatim, bar none, and from a fundamental objective standpoint, that as far as the regular season goes and as far as the playoffs goes, I was the definitive best player in this league. I had the best record, I had the best differential, I beat everyone that was in front of me, and I ended up winning the whole thing to really put a nail in the coffin as far as whatever doubts might have coursed through my veins about whether I am of the ability to be able to pull off such a thing. And in that front, PPL Season 3 was absolutely an indication of that, with the icing on the cake being the fact that this just so happened to be the league I ended up returning to after my hiatus in Generation 8, which I was not able to reach playoffs with. And since then, I kind of decided that no, I need to right this wrong and I need to make playoffs. And not only did I do that, I ended up winning the whole thing, and beautifully so at that. So yeah, it was pretty special, and also to turn a lot of full circle moments into full circle moments. Uni ended up having her best redemption story because after missing 4 hurricanes in the last season against Mr. Joseph Hernandez, Tatirabatu Anthony, this Pokemon was absolutely insane. God ended up becoming the MVP. I did not click a single hurricane, just Terrablast flying. We love to see that. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the other thing, we definitely do have to talk about Uni, although we probably will later. But
The bus.
The boss, which you tried to call the boss, and then it RNGG'd you, and you had to get corrected.
Yeah, I did. I'm glad for that.
Yeah. No, but I guess, what is Uni just the mon when it comes to you for Draft League? Like, if I had to tell you a team of 6 that you had to put together of these are the all-time Uzi mons, Kilowatt was there, isn't it? Has to be.
Yes, but only under the condition that it ends up being my Terra captain, because Kilowattrel, I love that Pokemon to death, but unless she has a Terra choice with her name on it, she isn't necessarily able to perform at her absolute best. But I feel like as far as every single Pokemon that I've used that I've had such a great history with throughout my 10 years of doing this, Kilowattrel was easily the most organic and the most beautiful story that was ever created from circumstances that essentially should have started and stayed as just bad luck and redemption, which last for a specific week before everybody moved on. But in a lot of ways, these circumstances put me in a position to challenge myself and explore different venues of what can be done with it as far as the content creation aspect goes. And in that specific field, and especially considering just how, attached people are to their Pokemon in Draft League, since you're spending all this money to draft a specific and unique roster and are put into unique context associated with your weekly games, everybody was able to build a connection with it, and I am happy to say that I became the first to create a substantial story with it that lasted an entire season. And while I certainly won't say that I figured it out from the get-go, because a lot of what I was doing initially was just me throwing random stuff at the wall and hoping that it sticks, it essentially led to me fully grasping the art of storytelling and becoming who I am right now. So in a very unique and beautiful way, Uni is probably one of the most definitive Pokemon I can possibly have in my team, and I couldn't be more grateful for it. Yeah,
exactly. And I think it is a perfect segue into the main thing we're going to be talking about here, and that is SPL. So obviously you came back to PPL, and then the SPL Impact came for Season 1, which, for those that haven't seen Uzi's recap video from a few months ago, it is one of the best things to come out of Draft League content. It is, I will link it again in the description as well as everything else. It is just so well put together. I know everyone loves their Wolfie's Lick recaps. This is the same ilk. And for Draft League, it's just great to see. Because we all love good draft content, don't we? Well, otherwise why are you here?
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. Thank you, bro.
The pleasure's all mine. So, we get to this particular game in...
Oh my god.
Yeah. SPL Season 1 quarterfinals. And I'm just going to let you talk about why this game and your feelings about this game as I let this team builder rock.
Yeah. So this was one of those matches where I felt like I was in an absolute impossible position to be able to win, because my opponent... Wait, what's his name? I forgot.
Gentleman Thomas.
Yeah, Gentleman Thomas. Great guy, by the way. Genuine great guy. I might have forgotten his name, but all up to him. He was a very wonderful friend that I was able to make throughout the season. He had such a disgustingly good squad into me because he happens to possess a Baxcalibur, which was impossible for me to defend against since I got rid of my Skeledirge, whoopsie daisy, and also the fact that he had Slush Rush, Sandslash to absolutely mollywop a lot of my team, especially with access to Terastallization. So yeah, all of that combined with Galarian Slowking to set up the snow, and Pokemon like Inteleon and Palpaldean Tauros or whatever have you, it wasn't a good situation. I'll tell you that much. Especially when some of my best physical offense ended up being set up the snow, and Pokemon like Inteleon and Palpaldean Tauros or whatever have you. It wasn't a good situation. I'll tell you that much. Especially when some of my best physical offense ended up being absolutely shunned by him, since he had access to give me less openings or whatever have you. So in a lot of ways, I went into this match with the expectation that I was probably going to be losing this. But when I figured that this would probably be my Hail Mary, instead of just openly accepting it and just trying to do my best in a very half-hearted way, I fully committed to setting very individualized and distinct game plans that I never really did for any of my past Draft League games. And this is where I started seeing a genuine shift happening in real time. Shout out to Addison as well, by the way, because she was a very big part in me piecing this puzzle together, specifically with the Empoleon set that you saw initially, because this Pokemon was essentially my dedicated lead, and it was designed in such a specific way where I would be guaranteed a piece of his, and thus put him in a very troublesome position to be able to, leverage it with my existing other Pokemon. So in that front, everything from my eject button Dragalge, which existed specifically to bring in my Kilowattrel, my Choice Scarf Shaman, which is Choice Scarf despite the matchup that was present, because this essentially made it possible for me to outspeed the Baxcalibur and get 2 Dazzling Gleams off instead of just 1, thereby being able to punish him, especially if he was able to go for a Dragon Dance. And with the Stealth Rock damage accumulated over time would therefore put him in range of getting knocked out. Everything was designed in a specific ways where I maximized my chances as much as possible. And while I went into this with as much foreboding thoughts as I possibly could have, I felt at peace knowing that this was the most prep that I've ever put into it, and that this was nothing like any of my past games. And in that front, this match was absolutely insane in a lot of ways. Shout outs to my Weavile set as well, because the beat up set was designed in a way where even after Stealth Rocks and with the Galarian Slowking having the Cold Berry, provided he's not physically defensive, which he had no reason to be, he would be guaranteed to get knocked out no matter what. So, yeah, lots of in-depth planning going into this.
I think
it went well.
I think it's a really fitting point of what you say in terms of this felt like the game where I leveled up my prep. And you will not be the first, and you probably won't be the last that brings this up on this series. Like, I think everyone does, and I think this is really good advice for new people as well, is sometimes you think you're just very much stuck in a particular level, and sometimes all you need is sometimes just an outside perspective, or a case of, you know what, everyone just has their own approach, that sometimes just the slightest of differences can make such a massive difference. And I think with you, from what I remember around this time, a lot of it was just mob process, or just slight tweaks, and you just felt so much more comfortable, I felt. So
Absolutely,
I think it's a very relevant point, and I'm glad you brought it up, because it gives me the chance to do my thing. So
sure.
Without further ado, let's hop into this. You see team preview here. He does bring everything you'd expect. No Alolan Sandslash, at least, which is good.
Yeah, it surprised me a lot for sure.
Yeah. No Terra on his end whatsoever, actually. That's interesting. So you lead with the Empoleon, as we said, as there's the Fortress.
Empoleon Lover 5000, yes.
Yes, exactly. The other 4,999 of them died.
Exactly, yes.
So you click Offensive Surf here, doing a huge chunk.
Because if he lets me get damaged on this thing, like, my Weavile about to go down, especially with his Paldean Tauros being his last line of defense into me. As he now props my weakness policy, and this is another thing that I utilized because a lot of psychology went into this as well, in the sense that if I'm able to rattle my opponent with my prep and basically throw his entire plan off for a loop, that gives me far more leverage in terms of how I'm able to position myself afterwards. And in that specific front, I felt like with the, weakness policy boost and the iron defense boost, I put myself in a great position here. Of course, there is something to be said about me kind of goobing myself, because if I had Roost, I feel like my opponent would have had a very, very difficult time into me. Well, absolutely, because I'd be hard pressed to see what else he had to be able to take this thing on. However, Stealth Rocks as well isn't particularly a bad shout into him, considering the Pokemon that he has, Baxcalibur. So, yeah, not the ideal set into him, but it got the job done. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But yeah, and this is where I end up showing a lot of cojones in terms of what I choose to do with my next play, because while he could have easily gone for a U-turn and would have died because I was twice scarfed anyways, I figured that he would make the double into his Galarian Slowking, which was why I ended up doubling out to my Weavile, and lo and behold, that is exactly what he ends up doing. And this is where my confidence starts gradually building up even more, because from a positioning standpoint and all the mocks that I had, this is where I was seeing firsthand just what was capable with all these plays and positionings and these sequences that I've been able to memorize. And essentially now, if he ends up staying in and tries to take me out with, Cold Berry Drain Punch, he was going to push up daisies, but unfortunately he ends up sacking off his Fortress. You hate to see it, but hey, I got a KO with Beat Up, and I now have every reason to make that the title of this video. Yes. I did it. I'm sorry for the clickbait, but I'm not really. But yeah, now with this situation, he is able to bring in his Paldean Tauros Blaze, which is a very scary Pokemon into me. But I have flat out the best answers into him. I realized that my Empoleon Lover 5091, the 5090 others died unfortunately, including this one, doesn't have a reason to exist anymore, so I'm just gonna end up sacking this thing off. Yeah, to see it. But he goes for a Stone Edge. This demon thought I was gonna bring in my Kilowatt. So come on, bruh. Come on. What did you think was gonna happen, huh? No, I wasn't gonna do that. But yeah, I'm just gonna let this thing go down. My Empoleon did a really good job. Sayonara, you did good. Did what you could, and that's all we can ever ask for. But unfortunately for him, now I'm able to bring in my Kilowattrel. And as it stands, this Pokemon is a guaranteed KO against his entire squad. Because before, I thought that I would need to run Hurricane to be able to two-shot the Galarian Slowking. No. Because as it stands, unless Assault Vest, but no, actually no, even with Assault Vest he was in range. He was guaranteed to get to it KO'd by a Modest, a Choice Specs, a Terraflying, a Terrablast, or for this specific one, I'll call it a Uniblast. Oh, I'm so funny. But yeah, it's gonna do a lot of damage. But as it stands, unfortunately, he is able to reveal his own ace in the hole, being his eject button, as he is able to bring it in the most threatening and the most problematic Pokemon into me, which is his Baxcalibur, who looks very stupid. But yes, as always. But anywho, I am going to now find myself in a position where I'm like, oh shoot, like I can't let this thing set up. If he goes for Ice Shard and my Uni dies, then unfortunately there's not much I can do about it. But Uni's gonna be able to survive. Uni's gonna be able to survive this one. Thankfully it wasn't Life Orb or Icicle Plate or whatever have you. And I'm gonna be able to get my KO. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out the item on that thing because I genuinely don't remember.
Oh, he was Dust.
And here's
he was the Choppleberry.
Oh, he was Chopple.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he wanted to mess up my Weavile, yeah. So it wasn't a bad shot. It was actually a really good bring, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna click Therablast. I'm just gonna believe in Uni, even though she always died, and she ended up coming through for yours truly. So, yeah, I'm just gonna.
This showed you.
This is where, yeah, for sure. But this is where my overconfidence started showing, because I was like, I had no reason to go on my weave out there. I should have under no circumstance gone for that, because if he went for Focus Blast or whatever have you, then this situation would have drastically changed a fair ton. But here I believe I just go for a knockoff because I don't really have any reason to click anything else. I already made an aggressive play before. I have no reason to do so again, as he is going to be able to bring in his Paldean Taurus Blaze. El Toro Blanco Toros, yes. As I see that he has them, I'm like, oh my god, like, what did you bring this for? It was actually my Cyril Edge, because he wanted to use that against me. Yeah, very, very viable for sure. But here I was like, okay, you know what? I already have my Dragalge. I have the eject button. You know, I could, if I just bring in my Uni, I'm just gonna get another KO courtesy of Uni Plus, right? So, yeah, this is where I was really feeling it. I felt fully at home. And while he makes for a great play with the Earthquake,
you have check.
On A, I'm physically defensive, so I chew that like it's nobody's business. B, I lose my item, which is going to be really good for dealing with the Zarude. And C, I'm not going to be able to bring in my Terra, a flying Uni, and as it stands, he ain't got to switch it. So, I'm gonna get another KO right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was the whole point of the eject button in the first place, was because of the Taurus. I'm gonna go back to the Weavile thing. I think you were right to make that play, because the issue is, I think if he lets Glowking take that hit and say he goes for Focus Blast and misses, it's too risky of a play. Because if that misses, he actually just loses outright.
For sure.
So
that is fair, yeah.
I think your aggro play was completely fine there, because T-Wave would also be psychotic because Volt Absorb Uni right in front of you. So,
yeah, exactly. That would have been crazy, bro.
Yeah, that would have been wild. That would have been all ball sacks on the table. But yeah, he goes back in the Glow King because that's what he has to do. And you're, to sack or not to sack, that is the question. And I think you make the right call here in terms of sacking. You have enough Forza Root at this point. You're very much in control of this game.
For sure.
And then,
as now the choice of sacking on my Uni. She did great. I'm so sorry, but yeah, I have to sack her off right now. But this essentially just ensures the prospect of me being able to bring in my Weavile and just get another KO, because guess what, pal? Unfortunately for him, he don't got a Weavile switching no more.
Exactly.
His affairs are gone. His El Toro Blanco sacrificed. Yeah.
So, there's pretty much nothing you can do. He's just figuring out what to sack at this point.
Yeah.
Down goes Glow King. In comes Rude. And here's potentially the only slight misplay you make. I get why you made it. Because...
yeah. I should have just attacked him flat out. He was Yachi Berry.
Yeah, I think the fear would have been something like Fat Weakness Policy, especially as you see Trailblaze. So,
yeah.
I completely and utterly understand your flag. Because if he was to
for sure,
like Trailblaze Stomping Tantrum would have been, that would have been bad.
Actually scary. Yeah, for sure. Because the issue with this is that with this Dragalge, I kind of flew a bit too close to the sun with it, because I was like, oh, I want to get Poison Touch on it, but as it stands, and something you're going to end up seeing here, despite, so many... despite the Sludge Bomb, combined with the Poison Point, combined with everything else, I don't get a single poison, unfortunately. And
we've all been there.
This would... exactly. Like, look at that. Still no Poison Point. But if I was adaptability, that Sludge Bomb would have been straight up KO in this Pokemon.
And you would have been waved.
Like, no questions asked
and
about
you possibly would have been Sludge Wave either. Like, it just would have died. But, all
exactly.
All that's left is an Inteleon that's basically not going to do anything. We can fast forward here. Ice Beam kills. Scarf Shaman, which you revealed earlier, which I'm not sure if he was paying attention to, but you did. And see if you clean up the game.
Yeah. Exactly.
That
And
brought you...
as you can see by the reaction. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, as you can see by the reaction, big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very big deal because this is where I really felt like a genuine shift was happening because at this point I just felt like I was one of the extras that was competing in this draft league. And when I say extras, I mean specifically myself based on my personal context. But with this outcome that ended up happening, I really felt like, okay, wait, hold on a second. Something's different this time. And if I can win this, how far can I really go? And it was special. It was very special for sure.
It was an incredibly special season. Obviously, it didn't quite work out because speed ties are stupid.
Very, very stupid.
Very, very stupid. Even though your logic of just chucking speed EVs for no reason was also interesting. Less is the better.
I mean, Addison, yeah. Don't look at me. Addison was the one who decided that.
Sure, there's no way Addison just told you, let's run speed for vibes. She definitely had a reason.
She set the set, so I mean, yeah, your guess is as good as mine.
I'll have to ask her when this video drops. Addison, if you're somehow watching this, just tell us everything we're missing. Please.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, SPL Season 1, incredibly special season, especially given the context of Season 2 was being worked on in the background, and you were initially told that it wasn't going to happen, that you weren't going to be involved, and obviously that was kind of disappointing. And then, a few weeks later, you turned that all around. How was that, kind of, as an experience from, the lowest of lows to highest of highs, especially going into SPL Season 2, which was such a massive occasion in terms of Gen 9 Wi-Fi draft?
Oh, absolutely. No, it was a very special time for me because I was, like, I'll give, the flowers and to Joel and Shuckle for telling me all of this way beforehand, but they were nice enough to let me know beforehand that I wasn't going to be in the original roster for Season 2. And I accepted that from the get-go because I looked at this as a moment of me really proving myself and establishing my own essence in this draft league, because for me it was never really just being a good player, it was making good content that really solidified me as one of the top guys. And I looked at the SPL Season 1 as the pilot episode of fully setting that into motion, which, especially after having the news be broken to me, really solidified my desire in making this the most special season I ended up competing in. And while obviously my heart ended up getting broken in the end with the unfortunate finals that ended up transpiring, because I always looked at this like, oh man, if I ended up becoming the Season 1 champion, people would remember me. People are going to see me. People are going to, want me to come back, because the next time it ends up happening, it's going to be on such a big note. But as it stood, it wasn't meant to be. And I was marinating on these emotions until I distinctly remember Joey telling me after the finals games that he would actually vouch for me, but there was hesitation in the sense that I was going to be flying back to Bangladesh afterwards for a month or two. And their belief at that time was that I would not be in a position to record any of my games, which was not the case. And so when I saw that Miguel, aka Mega Mogwai, and I believe Joey shared this before, so I have no reason to hold back from saying this. Yeah, Mega Mogwai ended up saying no to being a part of Season 2 because he was very busy. And afterwards, Joey tried to bring in Fufu 2 as well, who was another old draft head that ended up really coming out as far as coming out into this, who was also on the fence at first but initially said no. When I saw that the both of them were saying no, I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a sign, shoot your shot, see what happens. And I let him know that, hey man, I am capable of showing up. Like what you guys might be thinking as far as the, me heading back to Bangladesh for a month goes, still not gonna stop me from making content. And eventually, every single person involved was very open to the idea of giving me a shot to be a part of this, especially after the season that I ended up having. So in a lot of ways, it felt like a manifestation come to life, because what I was content with seeing as just a spectator ended up being a second chance, despite that door initially being closed for me. And one of the very beautiful things about manifestation or opportunities that are present for you is that in times like these, you have to be the one to take the initiative, no matter what, and because it's a reflection of your desire. And when the people end up seeing that, they are far more susceptible towards saying yes, because they see exactly how much it means to you and what you are able to create through it. So it was a genuine dream come true to be a part of the season 2 lineup. And initially I did lose the plot for a bit, because I looked at it under the negative perception of, oh man, I got all these expectations now, I gotta live up to them, I gotta do really well. And that pressure ultimately led to me being absolutely thrashed by Gator in the first week, which is very, very unfortunate. But then afterwards, a conversation that I had with my best friend for so many years, Matty Brolick, generally nothing but love to my other draft league goat. Like he's been with me since day one, no questions asked, all love to him. He reminded me of my feelings as I was going at it with SPL Season 1, where instead of being so obsessed about winning, I looked at it as individual weeks with new stories to tell based on whatever ended up happening. And me being reminded of that essentially brought the feeling back. And that was a very big part of this magical season that ended up happening to where we're at now. So yeah, I'm just truly grateful and humbled for everything. And this was genuinely 9 years of all these dreams that I had and was denied of coming true in Pokemon Draft League. And yeah, I'm grateful to everybody that has been with me throughout it all. I've been grateful. I'm very grateful to you as well, because you've been my right-hand man as far as the mocks and everything goes for SPL Season 1, Season 2, and beyond that. And I'm only what I am right now because I've had the right people beside me to pick me up and believe in me. And for that, I'm forever grateful.
Man, you'd be tearing up here almost. God. That was... Wow, that was incredibly powerful. Thank you for that. And it has been my pleasure. So, we should probably get into the final game that you have here for the throwback. And speaking of SPL Season 2, went pretty okay for you, I think. Kind of made finals after that week 1. So, and that brings us SPL Season 2 Finals against Redacted. No, his name's not Redacted, because that'd be kind of cool. He's just a nonce. So,
yeah,
less said the better. So,
exactly.
Any particular memories of this, prep process going into the game? Just as I run through this team building. It was something, alright.
Oh, it was something. I was stressed. I was absolutely stressed in a lot of ways because, this, in a lot of ways, was me making the impossible happen by making finals for 2 seasons in a row. That doesn't necessarily mean I never did it before, because I had, but this was far more special because this was the league, I ended up putting so much time into it, the biggest draft league in Generation 9 history. So this was a process where I had mocks after mocks, and shout outs to Addie as well, because she set the baseline for what this team was meant to be, and I iterated on it afterwards. And there was a time where, while I had some good results at first, I was straight up getting thrashed in the future games. And I was very much rattled afterwards, thinking, wait, hold on a second, do I really have a shot against this? And shoutouts to Donchnak for this, by the way. He was my MVP specifically for this match, because I distinctly remember a day where he was absolutely just thrashing me in every single mock we had. And I ended up calling an audible because a Pokemon that had great matchup into him, being Chi-Yu, was just absolutely getting thrown around like a rag doll, because every single one of my opponents were smart enough to have the best possible countermeasures for it. And I ended up deciding that, okay, you know what? Maybe this might be the game to introduce Assault Vest, Terra Fighting Galarian Articuno, because A, it has insanely stupid good matchup into him, and B, it is bulky enough to be able to take a lot of hits, including his cleavor, and be able to get a very big hit off in the process. And so the moment I made that shift, everything changed. I did not lose a single mock I ended up having afterwards. And despite this, I still had my anxieties. And mind you, I was still fasting during that, as I am now.
Exactly.
Ramadan, after all. Yeah. But basically, long story short, I was to play a specific day, which did not end up happening because I made the mistake of setting up a tour room while he did the very same as well. So we were basically locked out the whole. But that was probably the best thing to happen to me during then, because not only did this lead to me adjusting my EVs on my guard Akuno to be able to survive more hits, it also gave me one entire day to decompress.
Yes.
And essentially, it circled through my head that, you know what? This is nothing I haven't done before. I did my absolute best. And the mental peace that I was able to acquire in knowing that this is me giving my absolute everything and that there's nothing else left to do really helped get rid of these jitters. And well, we had the match that you ended up seeing.
Exactly.
And
I'm also just shouting out your missing pull TVs on the debuilder section. Good job.
Yeah.
Were
I
they
mean,
missing again?
I changed the EVs.
Yeah.
I changed I maximized the EVs afterward, don't worry.
Good job.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah,
Easy.
that would be really, really bad. So we get to we get through this Uzi opening monologue, and we see Envy's brains, which what was kind of running through your head here in terms of what came and what didn't. Raging Bolt was a surprise, I know that much.
Yeah, Raging Bull was a surprise because it had abysmal matchup into me, considering I had Iron Treads. But I was also surprised to see him not bring, Cleavor into me, which was a very huge nonce to face as far as the matchup itself goes. I was also surprised to see, Flygon as well, because that Pokemon could have absolutely torn it up against me, especially if it ended up being a special variant. So lots of surprises here and there, but the biggest one to me was his selection, because to be completely honest, if I brought my Chi-Yu into him, I would have just thrown him around like a rag doll. Like, it would, whatever this match ended up happening, it wouldn't have been the case here. Like, it wouldn't have been anywhere close for that matter, because Life Orb or Specs Chi-Yu just literally clicked Dark Pulse a few times and it would have manhandled him. Like, so that was the very big surprise as far as that specific aspect goes. And this is a byproduct of the downside of having so many mocks, because I had the best possible mock partners possible. He and with player people that were 10 times, they understood 10 times the builders. They created proper builds to be able to counteract my Chi-Yu. But it's pretty funny to look back in hindsight, because if I just brought Specs Chi-Yu, it wouldn't have been even close. Straight up.
Because the Frigoraph was also Terra Water, so like not even bringing a Dark Resist is insane.
Yeah, there was no Dark Resist, and that really, really surprised me, because you would think that he'd be smart enough to bring a Choice Scarf Pokemon, but there was a lot of weakness policies and all that sort of stuff, but a lot of his Pokemon weren't even specially defensive.
Yeah.
So literally, like, Chi-Yu would have just absolutely messed him up. But I digress. I had better players helping me, and it is what it is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, let's hop into this game here. So you're leading Deoxys because, as had been mentioned the whole time, hazard pressure, because the removal's a Toad Scroll. So you get a Spikes, Nihilate gets a Rocks, from what I remember. It's been 2 years. I think literally 2 years, actually. So we see
that's been 2 years.
Yeah. And here you just teleport out, as Deoxys had been just one of the crutches of the season, just because the fact of being that pivot, the hazard setter. Such an underrated mon. It really is.
Yeah.
So he goes hard Toad Scroll, as you go and teleport out.
Teleport.
Into, I believe, Dragon Bolt here, just to get off as good a hit as possible.
Perhaps a misplay, because I just assumed that he wouldn't have Spore, because all my other opponents, they never brought Spore with the Toad Scroll. Very serious 4-move slot syndrome. But if I was, Lumberry or Safety Goggles or whatever, yeah, once again, he would have gone thrown around like a ragdoll. But
no, sure. So you get the Dragon Guards off here, and as you said, he does go for my 7-5 Spore.
That's very unfortunate.
Annoying, but at the same time, you look at Pulse matchup, it's not as good as versus some of the other stuff, so you go Gardecuno here as he switches out and goes into his Empoleon.
Sure.
And then you decide you're just going to get your Terra off here, as you should, to minimize rocks, and get the Terra Blast fighting off.
Which pops his weakness policy. And that scared me a lot. Especially if it ends up being Thorn.
Exactly. Especially since he clicks Agility. And now all of a sudden things are annoying. But Gardecuno's a boss, it lives.
Yeah, I survived, and I just knock it out. Shoutouts to my extra speed, def, and HP investment.
That you put in on the
my
day.
goat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To be fair,
literally the day before.
Gardecuno and Rotom Fan, some Terra Captains.
Yeah, I mean, shoutouts to Rotom Fan as well, because this was my Terra Captain goat. Like, I don't know, there's something in the air with me with flying electric types.
Yeah, well, I think that was the whole joke. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Funny how that works out, huh?
Yeah. So, he clicks Agility as you get your damage off, and then you're just going to sack this. As he opts not to Terra, just clicks normal type Terra Blast, as you constantly refer to it as staying normal. You go Deoxys, you click Knockoff here. As you see the Terra Water coming out from this giraffe.
Yeah.
See
Oh no, it's
the Calm Mind this time.
Okay. He makes a stupid play like Calm Minding. He should have just Terra Blasted because it would have done more damage into me. What a nonce.
Yeah, I think he kind of expected you to have a move to kill him. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Deoxys 1v1'd him. He goes Mew. This is the most obvious. I'm going to set up in your face. So this is why you ran speed, and this is why you run taunt.
Exactly. Me going first is really surprising though, because I thought that Mew had decent enough speed. But I'm just going to
teleport out again.
You're not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Deoxys still.
Even with the Rocky Helmet, I still survived.
Yeah, still being the goat. And think of this thing, and gives you the nice thing of getting it through as a spike before you go down.
Exactly. So selfless of him. So nice of him.
I know. Really, really nice. Especially after giving you the spinner. Yeah, really, really nice of him.
Indeed.
So he takes you out with the discharge, and this is the freest Iron Trance because, just to remind you guys, this was low 2 Terra, so this is just a regular-ass Raging Bolt, which is terrible.
Exactly. Absolutely terrible.
Very free EQ.
The other surprising... This is another change that I made based on the mocks that I had, because, again, I was facing far more capable and better players than my finals opponent, but originally this was soft sand.
Yeah.
And if I was soft sand, the game just ended here, by the way, because the game just ended on the spot here. Like, Addy was very upset with me changing it back to heavy duty, but I changed to that because, again, I was playing better players. But
it was like
Spike's pretty funny looking back in hindsight.
With Spike's Mew, Spike's Toad Scroll, stuff like that, you were seeing a lot of it from what I remember.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like hazards were a very huge pressure point into me, so seeing that stuff happen was always just a pain in the arse. But I just I let him go down. Very, very unfortunate. I feel so sad, but down he goes. But now I'm gonna bring in my Zoomerl, which is physically defensive. Yes sir, yes sir. Or rather, max defense, max attack to be able to eat whatever hit from the. In either case.
And then you've just added the terrified everyone.
Yeah.
I do remember.
Listen, Mobius is peak. Mobius is peak. Okay.
You don't need to tell me. You
Uh-huh.
gotta play rough offense. Rage Fist did nothing.
He did nothing. Like I said, threw him around like a rag doll.
Exactly.
But Yeah.
Easiest aqua jet of your life as he tries to keep it as a spike sack. Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
Go for jet. This is still free treads.
Mm.
Exactly. Why? His best bet's roaring you out, I think, technically.
Exactly.
Why did this thing come?
He shouldn't have come.
Yeah, he shouldn't have. Then goes Annihilate to the spikes, and all that's really left in your way, provided you don't sack this thing for no reason, is the Mew.
Yeah, I should have just Earthquake there in hindsight, because, like, I was just convinced that Foul Play would knock it out based on the mocks that I had.
Yeah.
But really, my play here was to just spam Earthquake, because if I just did that, the game was over on the spot. There was generally nothing he could have done. Not even crit Earth Power would have knocked out my Metal Face.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it could have knocked me out. It was a roll, like the crit Earth Power.
Because like you'd seen
my player. Yeah, I should have. The other thing I probably could have done was just trick the Choice Bandit there, because if I did that, then he was just screwed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which,
so,
like, this play was still fine
play.
because you've Aqua Jet. Like, the only way this would have went badly is if he was also Draining Kiss, which he would have revealed beforehand, and...
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I think he was Ice Beam instead, from what I remember? God, this is long ago. But, you know, at this point...
It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
At this point, it's over, because you just Aqua Jet this thing.
Yeah.
And...
I was so scared with this specific moment, because I was like, what if I misclick? What if my controller
dies.
Like goes somewhere else and screws me over?
Yeah.
But yeah, I went especially slow for that one. But the Raging Bolt's gonna come up, and I'm just gonna let my Addy go down, who has been a serious MVP for yours truly, and a Pokemon I've used consistently a lot of times actually in my many years as a Draft League player. And now Metal Face is going to come out, the future Paradox Pokemon in comparison to my past Paradox Pokemon, which was Great Tusk in the last season. And now I knock out my own mascot, which was a critical hit for good measure. Shoutouts to Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia. This is a beautiful story in every possible. The evil gets vanquished in more ways than one, and yeah.
Exactly.
My greatest championship victory.
Yep, and I don't think it would be fairly impressive to top that, I would say. But no,
for sure.
I think we all knew that this was going to be what tops it, because this was an incredibly special moment. So, I guess
for sure.
I guess I have two questions to end this off for you. One, what can we expect for the future of the Uzi Gunner?
Yeah. I would say that my plans in the future specifically pertain to further fleshing out and exploring what I can do as the storyteller with not just Draft League, but any other position that enables me to create videos similar to what I did in my SPL Season 1 video. I think that is a valid approach and something that I want to challenge myself on. But while I'm also doing this, I want to make specific content that is capable of really making Draft League content really accessible to the casual viewers. I believe I have the editing ability as well as the scripting and all of that sort of stuff to make that so, because every single downside associated with this specific format or whatever glass ceiling that exists with it, that is only so because the content is yet to evolve to what it is today that has enabled VGC to grow into what it is now thanks to Wolf Click. Same with what is possible now with Smogon content thanks to people like Freezeye, Jimothy Cool, and so many more stepping up to be able to popularize it. There needs to be a bridge to be able to make it accessible towards casuals and therefore give them more means to jump into it rather than them being intimidated by it. And that is something that I want to bridge the gap towards and be able to do. So yeah, this is going to be my future moving forward, and whatever I do with Pokemon Champions, it is not going to come from a place of me trying to prove myself or becoming a champion, because I've already done that. Genuinely, honest to God, and this is coming from a place of ego or whatever, I have accomplished everything I set out to do, but now it is coming from a place of what can I do to not just elevate myself, but Draft League in the process, along with everybody else with me. And in that front, I hope to be for it what Joey Pokeyam is for Draft League, what Wolfglick is to VGC, and so much more. So if that's what you're all interested in, I hope you all are ready, because the best is yet to come.
That is exactly it. And just like that, that concludes episode 1 of TJ's Throwbacks. A lengthy one, but with this being a podcasty style, I'm not surprised whatsoever. If you guys have been enjoying the content, please do let me know in the good old YouTube ways. And let me know who you'd like to see next as a guest, throwing it back through their own careers. I'll chat to you in the next one, guys. Peace.
Yeet.